Mr. Green, can I test to see if you can hear me and if I can hear you?
Yes,
Mr. Green, we do not have a quorum at this time. Mr. Bissell will run the meeting in Chair Fry's absence. I'm just letting you know what's going on.
Thank you for that.
I we always end up going to Vegas to visit my in-laws, and my wife is a nurse, so we gotta work around her schedule, but she did get time off, and I might be gone. On the 20th, depending on Allegiant flights, you know.
Well, I understand, my wife is a nurse also, so.
Hey,
my wife's a nurse too.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't have a wife. Sorry, guys. Mr. Green, it's looking as though, unless somebody shows up in the next couple of minutes, it's looking as though we are potentially rescheduling for December 20th if a meeting needs to happen. Does that work for you?
Let me take a quick look here.
Yeah, why is our camera feed? It's so strange. It should be. It hears my voice, so like this camera should be.
They don't appear to be,
Yeah, it's just this camera.
it should be, the side cameras should be tracking over. And I was saying that it's been doing this for a while, like, it should be tracking right too.
Good
It looks
morning,
like-
this is Jenna. What was that date again?
Oh,
Did you, sorry, did you not see that I was here?
No,
Okay.
some reason,
Because I
your
was
name-
counting and I was like, I think we have a quorum.
we do have a quorum.
you're,
Am I just like a odd visitor or something? Did I hit the wrong link?
Your name is actually my name in real life, which very few people actually know. So
Oh, funny.
it's
Okay, because
Val.
I hit maybe a different link. That's really funny. Okay.
Huh.
yeah, you're showing up as Mary Elizabeth.
You were showing up with my
Can you try to
full-
rename yourself?
Yes.
I'm doing that
Before
right now.
yeah. Okay. Hey, we got a quorum.
we
Sorry about that.
The entire time.
Yeah.
I am so sorry, everyone. I should have spoke up sooner. Good morning.
Okay, we've got Parks and Rec meeting calling to order. Could I get a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Commission member Fry is absent. Commission member Bissell. Commission member Bicknell.
Present.
Commission member Green.
Here,
Commission member Teal.
Present.
We do have a quorum.
Terrific. Opening up for public comment. Doesn't appear that we have any members of the public here other than us. So let's move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda
So moved.
and minutes? Okay, it's moved. Do we have a second?
Bicknell motioned and Teal moved or seconded.
Oh, okay, we got it then. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We move forward. All right, so there's a park plan, JUB.
Yeah, so JUB's not here today, but they did submit just kind of a little memo updating us on where they're at in the process. Basically, we've thus far have task completed is the community survey, and then we did the public outreach portion, which included we were at one of the farmers markets, had a booth there, and actually it was really well received. We talked to a lot of people that stopped by the booth, so that was very, very good. And then we most recently met and went through the proposed updated goals and policies. So the next tasks include they're working through park inventory and also working on the demand and needs analysis, and then incorporating the capital improvement plan, which is also an agenda item on today's meeting. So schedule wise, we were talking about that a little bit before the meeting. We're a little behind in the adoption process. Ideally, I think under the contract, we were looking at a January adoption, but we're a little behind. We have applied for an extension and we've received that from RCO on our current plan. So we're not in jeopardy of risking any funding for grants that we've applied for. So we're probably looking at a February, March adoption. We may meet in December. I think what we were talking about was looking at December 20th as a potential meeting date to go over progress. That's all I have on that. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
So as far as progress goes, is there a phase they're going to be stopping for weather, or are they able to continue working during colder periods, or how is that going to work?
On the park plan?
As far as the construction that's going on down at Lions right now?
Oh, what do you guys want to talk about that as a kind of just we can do a little update later, just so we stay on track and not try to get too muddled. Any questions related to the park plan?
Kind of as we go through some of the capital plan, if there's relevant interconnection between that, I'd be curious on that.
Okay, sure.
Any questions out in Zoom land for John? All right, so let's move forward then with the capital facility plan. And Mike's not here, so.
Mike's not here. So obviously, I'm not gonna go through the entire plan because that's not what the goal is. I mean, we do have the PAR board review the capital facility plan because of the park element within that. So that's what we're gonna focus on. So on at the very start of the bottom of page 1 is the header for the park section. So it's all the content is on page 2 of, I'm just gonna look at the spreadsheet, basically the list of projects. So we have, let's see, 7 items listed there in the capital facility plan for parks. So Veterans Park, Lions Park Community Center, Whitman and Maple Park Site, Kiwanis Park, Perseverance Park, park development near Stone Creek, and then Harvest Meadows improvements. So the 2 that are within the 2025 budget are Veterans Park and Lions Park Community Center. Veterans Park, we've applied for a couple of grants for funding of the conceptual design that we've done, which includes it's been before you, the park board, is renovation of the park, including addition of restrooms, pickleball court, basketball court, and new playground equipment. That did not rank high in the scoring of the grants that we've applied for. We don't know, whether we'll be funded or not. It'll depend on how the legislature handles this next fiscal year. So I don't believe we'll find out about that until spring, for whether or not we were successful on funding. So you can see in the far right at the very end of the column that what the funding sources are. We'll utilize REIT 2 funding, which is our contribution portion. Parks don't have, there's no direct funding source for parks in our budget process. So most of our local dollars are through what we set aside through the real estate excise tax. Lions Park Community Center. So the plan is to get through 100% architectural design in 2025. So that's what we're funding there through this year. And then if we're able to, Mike has several earmarks at the state and federal level that he's working on. So depending on how those dollars come through, the plan is to start construction in 2026 and finalize in 2027. And then, so those are the 2 projects that are our primary focus. Of course, we're going to be working on, years out. So future projects would be, and these aren't necessarily in any order. I mean, Mike does have them kind of like the Maple and Whitman site as a 2026, but these other 5 projects are more fluid in terms of as opportunities arise. For instance, the park development near Stone Creek. If that development were suddenly to take off next year and land was dedicated, then we had the development contribution for developer contribution towards development of the site might move that up into 2026 from 2027 or so these other projects are more fluid. But the Whitman and Maple site, there was a conceptual drawing done that Mike worked on for a pump track at that site, and I think restrooms and maybe a small parking lot. There's also been some interest, and I don't think it's mentioned in here, but there's a group that's working on a conceptual idea for a skating rink for hockey. Kiwanis Park, So some minor improvements there, re-roofing the gazebo, lighting around the pickleball and basketball courts, some work on the athletic field, baseball area. Most of that would be through RCO funds. Perseverance Park, and Autumn Meadows Park. So Perseverance Park is the little parklet right there up at 12th Street. It's got some new signage in it, great views of the Blue Mountains there. Through the taking over Autumn Meadows infrastructure, there's that little, it was a private park. And so there's some conceptual ideas about connecting those two parks because we do own the hillside that supports the roadway. And so there's possibility of like a pathway walking connection between the two, and some other minor improvements. Probably some improvements I think we might have listed like playgrounds and equipment and whatnot at the Harvest Meadow site. I don't see that actually there's not any details listed there regarding that, but. And then, as I mentioned earlier, there's the Stone Creek development, which is the property across from, I guess the west side of College Avenue, across from the high school. We actually have received a development proposal for a master plan development of mixed use, multifamily and single family of just over 900 units on 100 acres. And so Stone Creek kind of divides that property, and so there's opportunity there for passive recreation. So, walking trails and, viewpoints, and interaction with nature, but also with that many homes and also, the proximity to the schools, there's potential for active recreation, and we don't know what that might look like. I mean, it could be working with the schools, it could be, actual, active recreation sites, playgrounds and athletic fields within the development. That has yet to be kind of fleshed out. And then Harvest Meadows improvements, so that's the park across south of the highway. It's a small neighborhood park, and I think playground equipment and some other minor, maybe a picnic shelter is the ideas there. So that is the parks section of the capital improvement plan. And I don't believe at this point we're asking for any sort of recommendation or anything like that. It's more of an update to let you know. We'll take feedback, of course. If there's anything in there that you'd like included, we'll let Mike know that. Any questions or comments?
One basic question. Fiscal year, what is the fiscal year versus the calendar year?
We're on a calendar year.
Oh, okay.
And then I think honestly, that's a Mike question, but our budget cycle is from January 1st through December 31st. So, and then we have to work with the fiscal year. The state is on a 2-year biennium, I think is what their budget cycle is. So does that sound right? You.
But I get.
Coming from you, it sounds very, very positive.
I guess I was way back. I'm looking at the PowerPoint document. Yeah, I think it said projects from fiscal year 2024, and saying, oh, does that extend into 2025 or?
So I think fiscal year that's.
They can't be the same.
They are a calendar year and fiscal year. I think for us is that 12-month calendar cycle. That's how we budget.
Okay.
We're fiscal year as opposed to a biennium, which is a 2-year cycle. And then I don't remember the months, but the state's budget cycle does not follow the 12-month calendar. It's somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
That's not my area of expertise. The state's budget cycle. Mike could probably talk for hours about it. And honestly, I didn't look through Mike's PowerPoint plan. Okay, so there's some images about each section of what I just went through, basically.
So the developer, this Stone Creek area, did present a plan. They have submitted a plan.
No, so the Stone Creek development, they've submitted, it's called a master plan development. And that was submitted in August. We reviewed it for completeness, which is the first step. And it has been determined that their application was incomplete. And so we sent their application basically back to them, identified the areas of deficiency, and they need to get back to us. So usually the way these master plan developments, it's similar to like a planned unit development process. If you're familiar with that, it's pretty high level. And often there's at the end of it, you end up with a development agreement in place that kind of gets to the nuts and bolts of, timelines and expectations. So they're working with their current proposal is to utilize a firm that will handle all their critical area restoration and the park improvement sections, but we don't have the details on that yet, what their proposal is.
I just see it as a tremendous opportunity where there's basically wetlands all through the property. Says, okay, well, let's do something special with that, which would be unique, that it's not like our other parks, and the land is not very valuable to the developer either. So I'm speaking like a park board member there, and then my property is directly adjacent to this on Stone Creek. And so whatever happens there, I'd love it to be consistent and beautiful. And
yeah, I think that in the conversations we've had is that, yes, definitely along the Stone Creek area. And there are, believe it or not, there are wetlands around there that have been impacted over the years by farming activity and grazing. Nonetheless, the soils, when the biologists get in there and analyze this, even though there may not be the vegetation there that we would all think of as a wetland, the soils will indicate that there's the presence of wetlands. And so there is either a reestablishment with the plantings and stuff for wetlands, or in some cases you can do a fill and then expansion in other areas. So all of those details have not yet been, outlined, other than, we know where they've identified where the wetlands are in the wetland report. But we don't know what the overall proposal will be. But yes, along the creek, you want to preserve that. You want that to be restored and, be beautiful and be a great asset for habitat. But also with that many homes out there, there's going to be the need for active recreation in addition to just the passive recreation is more of the wildlife habitat areas, maybe, the making sure you have adequate, park benches and walking trails. And that's more of the passive sort of recreation side of things versus active, which is ball fields and playgrounds and things for, real recreation. So I think we need both at that site, and it certainly is suitable for both.
well, as we talk about active recreation, the collaboration with the school district seemed to be just such a vital part that
Yep.
we can build it once and share it as a community, not having the city build one and the school district build it another.
Yeah, and that's where the conversations and the development agreements will be key with having the developer and the school district and the city all, talking together about, well, what are our needs and how can we accomplish this as a team? Does the developer need to handle it all on their site and, take care of it on their own, or is there an opportunity for collaboration where, maybe there are resources that the developer contributes to development of, a recreation site on the school grounds, or who knows? I don't know. Those are just ideas and thoughts.
Are there any other questions or comments for John? Okay, well, your objectives were to basically present this information so we were informed as a Parks Board. You're not looking for action on any items here?
I don't recall there being any. It's not an action item, so no, it's just a presentation on the capital facility plan.
In the package, there was a draft ordinance. Are we supposed to do something with that?
That'll be for the future. Yes, not today.
And I'm not sure when he's planning on bringing that back to you. Did you see it? There's a November date in there.
Yeah, probably November 12th, I guess, November 12th meeting. It's all like budget dependent, or so much is budget dependent.
So ordinances are adopted by the council. So Mike prepared the packet. So in seeing that there's not an action item on there, it doesn't appear to me that he was asking for it. I think that he just wanted the PAR board to be, aware of what was in the capital facility plan related to parks.
So we have input on a piece of the capital facility
Yes.
plan.
Yeah.
But we don't make a decision on any of that.
Right.
piece.
I think possibly in the past, Mike, if time had allowed, if this had come to you in October, and then he might have asked for a recommendation, in the November meeting, but that doesn't. I'm just looking at the agenda item, what's written out there. This document will get reviewed and recommended by the Utilities Commission. And so it is actually asking for a recommendation. This document would get reviewed and recommended by the Utilities Commission, Economic Development Commission, and Parks Board before ultimately going to City Council for consideration. So, although it's not listed as an agenda item, as a recommendation, but I don't think Mike would be upset if you guys had a recommendation for for approval. So somebody would like to make a motion to that effect, that would be great, I think. Full circle there.
Well, I'm open to motions if there are any. Otherwise, since it wasn't on the agenda, we're probably good either way. But
Yeah,
you tell
Jenna
me,
here.
John.
I'd like a little more time with it, if that's all right.
Okay.
Yeah, a little more time with it.
All right. So it sounds to me like we've covered our bases on what we're the informational part of this. Are there any other comments, or shall we, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Did you have any, you had earlier asked a question about Lions Parks?
Yeah, I did. I asked about just sort of a brief update probably on Lions Park, since that's kind of the big project.
Yeah. Be happy to do that. So I actually have a 9 o'clock meeting popping up here on that project, but things are progressing. The pond is completely dredged. The creek, the water's flowing back in it, although there's still some channelization work to be done. There's a small section that has a culvert in it still, in the area where the eastern bridge is being constructed, the footings for that. So infrastructure wise, what's going on right now, all of the underground stuff is in place, all the water and sewer lines, all that sort of stuff, electrical conduits. The subgrade for the parking lot is in place. All the stormwater stuff's been, major components of that are completed. What's going on right now is the buildings, so the restrooms, the footings and stem walls for the bridges, there's a retaining wall and footings for the fishing dock. Those are all under construction right now. Everything's up and out of the ground, so the footings are all in, and they're starting to work on getting the walls up on those structures. Probably we're in the process right now of, we're expecting to receive a request for some construction days, meaning they're behind, and so they're going to be asking for some days where, we couldn't work on this day because of weather, things like that. So we're in that process right now. The project is substantial completion is supposed to be in early January, but we're probably looking more like February, March, and possibly even later than that, because that's not a great. They're just behind far enough that it's going to affect plantings like the sod and other landscaping features, and usually in our area, it starts getting cold this time of year, and by mid-November, the asphalt plants shut down, and I still don't have a confirmed paving date for the parking lots this fall, so that may end up being delayed, and there's the pathways too, so we're looking at delays is what I'm expecting, and yeah.
So overall, the projected completion date was, you said January, was that right?
It was January. We've always been anticipating that our grand opening would be, in spring, way before our farmers market starts. So I don't foresee that that's going to be an issue, but still, it would have been nice to have, 99% of the park completed, in late December, early January, so that we have some time for things to settle out before we actually start using the park.
So is it a sod? Did you mention sod? They're going to sod the whole thing? Is that the plan?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that'll get things up and running more quickly, I guess.
Yeah.
So, okay, great. Any other questions about for John? Nope. All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Well, that concludes this Parks and Rec meeting. Thank you all. Our next meeting is, unless there's a special request, or are we planning to do that on December? What was it, John? 20th? Okay.
I'll let you guys know.
All right.
If we need that December 20th meeting and do all the necessary legal stuff.
Okay. Sounds great. Well, thank you all. and thank you for the presentation, John. Okay.